Coach Prime and the Colorado Buffs suffered a devastating blowout loss this past Saturday to Oregon at Oregon under Dan Lanning. Everybody's seen on the internet, Dan Lanning gave, a hype speech pregame, and the Oregon boys rallied under that and ended up blowing out the Colorado Buffs. Offensively, Oregon used their staple of running backs and really controlled the line of scrimmage and used that offensive line to get some push and control the game, which opened Bo Nix up for the passing game, and it was just kind of a snowball going from there. So, Drew, kicking it to you, as far as this loss goes for Coach Prime in Colorado, what sticks out to you?
Yeah, I mean, a lot of the weaknesses that Colorado's had and people knew that they had heading into this season showed in this game, and we knew they were going to show eventually. Colorado did a tremendous job starting 3-0. They beat teams like TCU and Nebraska. These are games that people thought Colorado weren't going to win, but they overcome their weaknesses through playmakers. But unfortunately, when you run into an Oregon or a USC, a team that has depth from top to bottom, your playmakers can only do so much if you don't have a full, solid staple of 11 guys. And for Colorado, that line is just an issue right now, to put it lightly. I mean, how many times did Shedeur drop back? And by the time he finished his drop back, there was already a dude in his face. As elite as Shedeur is and how great he's been, and he even played pretty well in this game, I think, when he had the time to make the throws. He literally just can't do anything. And then going and flipping sides, when you look at this Colorado defensive front, I mean, you just knew that Oregon was going to line up, and if they even decided to run the ball, Oregon was going to get 7, 8, 9, 10 yards guaranteed. The talent difference on the front that Colorado is going to see from this point forward is just going to be so big that it's almost hard to see any change that's going to be happening from now until later in the season. Colorado's line is an issue, and people need to understand that this is reality. This isn't me hating. This is just calling it how it is. Until Colorado and Dion is able to get a couple recruiting classes in and get some depth on the line and get some talented guys up front, these are the kind of things that you're going to see from Colorado when they play a team that's better than them more times than not. Colorado is looking at a lot of losses coming up on their schedule. You got USC coming up. You have Oregon State, Washington State, Utah. UCLA, Arizona State played USC pretty tough. I mean, that could be a tough game as well. I mean, these are just teams that Colorado, that are just not better than talent-wise. So, going forward the rest of the season, people don't need to be surprised if Coach Prime and Colorado can't get it done in a lot of these games, if they don't make a bowl game, because I think Colorado's already exceeded a lot of expectations getting, 3 wins. That's triple the amount they got last year. Coach Prime doesn't have a lot to work with, and it's, clearly shown that they have a long ways to go before they compete with these top teams.
Yeah, I think a lot of people knew, who have been a part of rebuilding a program or, have seen a program be rebuilt, knew that Coach Prime in Colorado was going to be a 2, 3, 4 year turnaround. With the transfer portal nowadays, you can go and get a bunch of good players and get a lot better, a lot faster than you have been in years past. But it's not like a Lincoln Riley to USC situation where he's turning around USC, who historically, is great in their past. They have a great name, and they're still going to be getting recruits based off of that. Colorado hasn't really been good ever. And they, like you said, they only had 1 win last year. So he's completely turning this program around, from the bottom up. So it's going to take a couple of years. And he has gotten some talent, on the outsides on offense and defense, but it all starts with that line of scrimmage. I mean, what do we say? We're in SEC country. So that's, that's a preliminary, that's a prerequisite to success down here. You got to have the big boys up front that are going to be putting the work in. And Colorado just doesn't have that. The size difference between the Colorado linemen and the Oregon linemen in that game, it was the most apparent it's been so far this season for me. With Colorado going to play USC next week, I don't see much changing. I mean, how much better can this O-line and D-line get in one season? They just don't have the size to contend with these other guys. And when you talk about a guy like Caleb Williams, he's hard enough to sack as it is. So when I look at that game, I'm thinking Caleb Williams is going to be kind of able to do whatever he wants. Now, as far as Shedeur goes, in my prediction, I thought that, I still think Shedeur is a better quarterback than Bo Nix. I thought that would show a little bit more in that game, and that would lead to a little bit closer of a score. That being said, he didn't even have a chance to make an impact on that game. 4 sacks in the first half. I think he was sacked 7 or 8 times overall. So it was just a really, really bad game for that O-line that didn't allow the offense to showcase what they could have done.
Yeah, absolutely. And it doesn't help the fact that Colorado has such a big spotlight on them. I mean, this is a team that has historically been so bad. And then they're coming into a year now where teams are, highlighting that game on their schedule, and they're going to get every team's best shot. and that's not going to help Colorado in any way, shape, or form. I mean, we heard Dan Lanning's comments before the game. If you haven't already, you can probably find it on YouTube. His pregame speech, basically, talking to his team, talking about how Colorado's playing for likes, they're playing for wins, and you can expect a lot of those kind of speeches from a bunch of different coaches that play Colorado. So Colorado's going to get every team's best shot, and even if Colorado doesn't make a bowl game, and I'm going to say this again, they probably aren't. There's just too many tough games on this schedule, and people don't need to all of a sudden fall off this hype train. I think Colorado has the potential to be good. They have the potential to be good in a couple years. And heading forward for the rest of the season, though, like Aiden said, I mean, how much better can they really get, though? This is going to be a rough stretch of games for Colorado when they head into conference play.
Yeah, with this Colorado team, this is the first year this team has even been playing together. These players, they're all relatively new to each other. So going through that first blowout loss, that can either bring a team together or break them apart. I think Deion's such a great coach, such a great motivator for these young guys. It's going to bring them together. So it wouldn't surprise me if they came out and played really hard against USC. And I think they're going to be able to contend in some of these games that they're probably supposed to lose, like Oregon State and Washington State. I know Washington State has been playing great this year, but Coach Prime is, bar none, probably one of the best motivators in college football, maybe behind Kirby Smart. And as far as a recruiter goes, he's up there with Nick Saban and Kirby Smart already. So he's going to be able to get his guys in. It's just a matter of time. People don't need to, get off the hype train now, or, haters don't need to come out and start ridiculing Deion Sanders, because they're going to be looking stupid by the start of next season, because Deion is just going to continue to adapt and continue to elevate his team and get them better and better. So they're going to continue to improve. But like you said, I don't see them getting over 6 wins this year, just because that schedule is so tough and the blaring weak points that they have on both the O and D line.
All right, well, that's going to wrap it up for this video, guys. As always, if you enjoyed the video, please leave the thumbs up, subscribe, and hit the notification bell. All those things help us out tremendously. And be sure to leave down below in the comments what you think of this Colorado team and what you think is up, coming for them for the rest of the season. But that's going to be it, guys. We'll see you in the next one.